I don't want to come across like I've got some kind of feud against philosophers or philosophy, but in this video I would like to talk about the place of philosophy in regards to metaphysics and spirituality. One of my favourite quotations of all time comes from Blaise Pascal's own diary. And it goes like this: the year of grace 1654, and then he goes on to talk a little bit about that day and what saint was associated with that day and so on and so forth. But then he talks about the experience that he had on that day. From about 10:30 in the evening to about half an hour after midnight, fire, God of Abraham, God of Isaac, God of Jacob, not of the philosophers and savants. And I wanted to address the meaning of this quotation with a little allegory that I've written for you, which I hope you'll appreciate and I hope you'll get. The thing about allegories is that they don't say exactly what they mean. Language isn't designed to talk about spiritual and metaphysical truths. It's designed to talk about shared experiences. Experiences that the speaker and the listener both share. If I say the word cow, well, I know that you know what a cow is. I know that you've got a similar shared experience of what a cow is to mine. Hey, maybe you grew up on a farm and you actually had daily encounters with cow, but whoever you are in the world, you've seen a picture of a cow. When I say the word cow, you may have different colors in your head from the colors that are in my head, and maybe different shaped horns or whatever it might be, but you've got the same principal idea of what a cow is to my idea of what a cow is. So when I use that sound, cow, the image that's in my head is more or less reproduced in your head. But with spiritual considerations, inner considerations, we're not talking about something that I can check that you have the same experience of. Spiritual experiences are individual. They belong to the person who has them, and no two people will probably have the same spiritual experience exactly. So we can use grand words like the numinous and the divine and so on, but I can't check that when I say these words, you're understanding them in the same way as I mean them. And that's where I find metaphors and allegories really useful, because I can use words that relate to something that I know that we share in the material realm, and then we can make parallels between that sensory story and the metaphysical story that I'm really trying to get at. So here we go. Picture this. You're on holiday with a bunch of friends and you've all arrived at the hotel, and it's a lovely, lovely day, but all of your friends are really tired. They want to stay for a little while at the hotel, unpack, maybe get some late breakfast, something along those lines, but it's a beautiful blue sky outside, the sun's shining, and you want to go for a walk. So you pack a sandwich and a little bottle of water into a rucksack and off you go, and soon enough you're walking along a country path and you walk over a hill and down into a valley where you find a beautifully clear babbling stream. And tied to a stake on the bank, there's a rope that is attached to a boat. It's a little rowing boat, just big enough for one person. And on the stake, there's actually a sign that says, "Public use, please enjoy." So you hop onto the boat and you untie it and off you go gently down this lovely stream on this glorious day, surrounded by green grass and trees, and actually the flora as you go along starts to get a little bit thicker and the trees grow a little taller, and yeah, it's a very, very enjoyable experience just going down this stream. And you see animals come to see this person going down the stream and very curious to see what's going on. And as the boat carries you down the stream, you realize that, yeah, this flora is getting very, very dense, in fact. And you turn a corner and you realize that the boat is going faster and faster. It's not unpleasant, it's actually quite thrilling. You're actually really enjoying it. There doesn't seem to be any danger until you see that actually there is a cliff right in front of you, just in the middle of the stream. It doesn't make any sense, but there is a cliff right there, and you know that if you don't slow down, you're going to smash into the cliff. And so you try to stop the boat with the oars, but it's not stopping, it's not slowing down. You're going faster and faster, and so you brace yourself and you close your eyes, and the crash doesn't happen. You open your eyes and you realize actually you're in darkness. You've gone through the face of the cliff into the mountain. And it takes you a little while for your eyes to get used to the darkness, and you look around and actually all the plants are phosphorescent and they're glowing with beautiful bright colors, and it's actually really beautiful, and it feels really serene, and you feel like something's changed, and you realize that it's actually the sound of the water. There's no more sound of water. And you look over the edge of the boat and you realize that you're no longer in a stream of water, but actually in a stream of little glimmering objects. And you put your hand down and you draw out a handful of gems, really finely cut, very small gems, all kinds of different gems, diamonds and pearls and rubies and emeralds, and it's absolutely beautiful. And the thought of grabbing a handful to sell once you get back home doesn't occur to you, because you have this understanding that these gems are there for a different reason. They're not there for the monetary value, they're there to provide a feeling of awe, a feeling that something is very special here. And you carry on down this river of jewels, and little by little the light starts to dim and you're seeing less and less around yourself, until the darkness really surrounds you and you really can't see your hands anymore in front of your face. And there's just nothing but darkness, absolutely nothing but darkness, which is really thick around you. And this feels okay for a little bit, but then it's so dark that you really have to feel yourself to make sure that you're still there. And it feels like you're just a vast mind evolving, and you're not really sure what movement means anymore, because in order to move you'd have to be going from one place to another. But here in this utter darkness there is really no concept of space, and so you're just a free mind in this darkness, and you're able to observe yourself as a mind. And this is quite an interesting experience for you. It's unsettling, but it's really thought-provoking just to be pure mind for a bit. And then within yourself, within mind, there's a little spark, a little glimmer of light. And you realize that you still are in the boat, and that this little glimmer of light is somewhere. It's in space. And you're not sure if it's close and very small or far and very large, but as the boat continues to draw you forwards, the glimmer of light grows and grows, and little by little it starts to illuminate the world around you, and you can see your hands once again, and you can see your body once again, and you can see the space around you once again. And you're going forward and forward towards this light, and you realize that actually this light is enormous, and it's like a big sphere of light. And eventually the boat draws you all the way into this gigantic sphere of light, and this light seems to have healing properties. You feel just so wonderful being inside this light, and you feel like this light has got some kind of property that is changing you for the better. It's making you into the kind of person who can't put a foot wrong, like the kind of person who is so lucky that whatever they do, they get it right. And you're filled with this confidence that everything's going to be okay. And you relax, and it's just the most wonderful feeling. And you know in your bones that this light is instilling you with grace and blessings, and is going to make your life perfect going forward. And all you can feel is wave upon wave of gratitude and delight. And then you look ahead of yourself and you see that there's this upward movement, right? Like a reversed waterfall. It's going upwards, right? And soon enough you're actually caught up in this upward movement, and your whole boat and you're lifted up towards the ceiling, towards a hole in the top of the mountain, until you're burst out the top of the mountain. And you look around and you can see it's a glorious day. It's all green and lush everywhere, and there's the river, and there in the very far distance there's a place where you started off from, and you think to yourself, oh my goodness, I'm this high up, but whatever goes up has to come back down, and you're kind of worried that you're about to fall back down, but these two wings spread out from each side of the boat and start flapping and get you back down to the place where you started. And the boat gracefully lands back into the stream just next to the stake, where you tie your boat up once again with that rope, and you get out of the boat and you think to yourself, my goodness, what just happened to me? That was completely insane, completely crazy. Nobody back home is going to believe me. But the boat is here, so anyone can really get onto this boat and experience that whole journey for themselves. So it's fine. I'll go home and tell all my friends, and they'll be so excited to go on this journey. They'll come here today for sure. They'll want to have this amazing experience that I'm about to tell them about, and they'll be able to just get onto the boat and try it for themselves. It'll be fantastic. So you run back to the hotel and you find all your friends sitting around the breakfast table. They're just finishing up, and you tell them your story. It's an incredible story, right? And you tell it with passion, and you're very excited about what's just happened to you. But then you look at their faces and you can see that they're kind of nonplussed, baffled, embarrassed. One of them says, yeah, how do we know you're not lying? And you say, well, try it for yourself. Literally, the boat's there. All you have to do is get onto the boat and enjoy the ride. And they say, yeah, that sounds like something that I could do. But on the other hand, I was really hoping to go shopping this afternoon. And then a couple of others go, yes, I was really hoping to go shopping. And your story sounds great and all that. But yeah, I've heard that the shopping here is really, really good. And you can't believe it. You're thinking to yourself, how could you prefer to go shopping than to try this experience out that I've just told you about? And then another friend starts saying, well, actually, I'm really into boats. So what kind of boat was it? And did it have sails? And, are you into nautical knots? And you're like, no, I'm not into knots at all. Like, the boat was just the vehicle. I don't really care about the boat. It was the experience that was great. The boat was just a boat. What can I tell you? Oh, yeah, well, some boats are better than others and things like this. And you're like, sorry, are we talking about this? Did you hear what I just said? You can go and have this experience. I'm not talking about boats. And then another one pipes up, oh, I've heard about these experiences. They're really designed by the elite to keep people under control. It's all a secret code so that you can't understand it. And you're like, what are you even talking about? I've just had this amazing life-changing experience. We're not talking about a secret cabal of people trying to take over your life. We're talking about an amazing life-changing experience that everyone can have. You just need to get onto the boat. And then another friend says, yes, actually, I belong to a group that talks about this experience all the time. And honestly, the way you're talking about it is a bit disrespectful. My leader asks us to take certain vows and make certain promises, and we have to live in a particular way to even be able to think about these things. So the way you're just talking about it as something that anyone can do is deeply offensive to me. And then another one says, well, actually, I've got a PhD in exactly what you're talking about. And I can tell you it's all theoretical. And frankly, the fact that you're talking about it as a real experience is a little bit embarrassing. Can you even tell me about the ontology of the white light? And you're like, the what? And they're like, yeah, and you can see that you're not really talking about it in a logical way. What about these wings coming out of your boat? That doesn't make any logical sense. And also this cliff. I mean, clearly if there was a cliff, then your boat would have shattered to pieces. You have to speak logically, because if you forget about logic, then your whole argument falls apart. And you're like, logic? Argument? I'm not talking about any of these things. I'm talking about something that I just experienced, and that you can experience too if you just get onto the boat. So there we are. I hope it's clear that I'm not actually talking about a boat ride. I hope it's clear that the reason I'm talking about it in the form of a boat ride is because the actual thing that I'm talking about does not have words that I know for sure you will know how to relate to. But I do think that for many of you listening to this, you'll be able to do a one-for-one conversion of the elements in this stories for the elements that you may have experienced throughout your own spiritual experiences. And also in the conversations that you may have had about your spiritual experiences with other people in the world around you. I want to be quite clear that I'm not saying that logic and a well-reasoned argument don't have an important place in the world. but I am saying that they don't and shouldn't take precedence in the realm of discussing spiritual and metaphysical matters. There we are. What's your approach to philosophy? Do you have a similar approach to mine? Or on the contrary, do you feel like philosophy is the most important part and that the experience is not necessarily as important? I'd be fascinated to know what you think. Do please leave a message in the comment section down below. And if you'd like to support the channel, then I have a Patreon where you can donate $2 to more dollars per month, which in turn gives you access to the Discord and a number of other perks. Don't forget to hit the like button and to subscribe if you haven't done so already. And let me just take a little second to say a big thank you to the existing members, in particular the Level Infinity members, David Venturini, Caitlin Kopok, Aritz Murueta Ramos, hackerbooks.com.au, Howard Wolf, Linda Hendricks, Stephen Hunter, and Susanna Redelfs. Thank you so much for your support, and also a big thank you to the Level 3 members whose names you can see scrolling up on the left. Please take care of yourselves and of each other, and I'll see you very soon with another video. Bye-bye.